Anya, have you ever had anyone new stay at your house?
Nope.
And have you ever traveled out the country?
Nah.
Well, if you're looking for a new experience, you should definitely check out the Italian exchange program.
Yep, I actually did that interview. So if you want to learn more about it, make sure you tune into this next clip. Hi, my name is Anya, and I'm here with Jim and Cindy, and we're going to talk about the Italian exchange program. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having
Nice to
us.
meet you.
So what exactly is the Italian exchange program?
It's a program that started back in 1997 between students at Norristown High School and students with schools in Montella, Italy. Many of the Italian immigrants that live in Norristown today came from Montella years and years ago. They established the Holy Savior Church, for instance, and their students are very tethered to many of the people who live in this area. Family, extended family, that sort of thing.
And why are we switching?
Well, back in 1997, the superintendent at that time of schools was Dr. James Holton, and he felt that there was a value in the students exchanging, living in another culture. So we go to Montella for 2 weeks, and they come here for 2 weeks. So we give an opportunity to see what life is like as a teenager in another country.
And how do you guys choose the students to come?
They're chosen by their school. They take a test, an English test. They all take English for many years, and they have to pass an English test to come. They're graded on that test, and the grade that they receive will decide whether or not they're able to come. They make a decision. Everyone needs to score over an 80%, for instance. And so they come for that reason. They're more proficient in English.
And if they don't pass the test, do we have like backup students or anything?
The only way they come if they don't pass the test is if they have family here that will host them. And sometimes that has been the case.
And when they come here, what exactly do they do?
Well, they start in New York City. They're there for 2 nights, 3 days. Then they come down here, and we take them to Philadelphia, Washington. We've taken them to Lancaster. We do a lot of local activities and things like that, so they can really see what our kids here, how they live and what they do.
How long do they stay for?
About 2 weeks.
All right. And why do you think this program is important?
Well, I think it's important because when our kids go to Italy, to Montella, we take them to Rome for the first 2 nights and 3 days, excuse me, and then we go down to Montella, and then we have day trips to Capri, Amalfi, Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius. We do a lot of local activities like going to a winery, a cheese factory. I have a cousin that owns a cheese factory there, and they see how things are done there, how different it is than here.
All right. And what language do they speak, the people from Montella?
They are Italian,
Italian.
and they speak Italian.
So when they come here, do they have to speak English?
They must know English to participate in the trip.
And our students from Norristown have to speak Italian?
They do not have to speak Italian, no.
All right. And what do you guys expect for the students when they come here?
We expect them to have an opportunity to see what our school is like. Our school is quite different from their school. We have changing classes. Their students stay in one class all day and their teachers switch, so that's a very different dynamic. They don't have the extra things that we do, like art and music, phys ed, the comm center, things of that nature. They do straight academics. So they get experience, they get to see what learning is like here. Our students, when we go over, we go in the summer, so we don't actually go to school as a class, but they still learn the value of what life is like in a different community. They don't have the high-paced lifestyle that we do here. They have large meals in the middle of the day. The students that go to school in Italy go from 8:30 till 1:30 every day. They're home then the rest of the day. Family time, things of that nature. They do go to school 6 days a week, but they do a lot more family-oriented things. They're a lot more focused in their community in that way. They don't do some things our students do, like extracurricular activities. So it's just a very different lifestyle, and it gives both groups of students an opportunity to see how someone else lives.
And when the students come here, do the principal give them like a full schedule of how their school day is going to be like?
Well, they will have a school host when they're here. It'll be either the person they're staying with, or if they're staying with a family that does not have a high school student, we're partnering them with students that go to Norristown High. So they will travel through the school day with whoever their host is, and they will participate in class. Sometimes, most of these students are juniors and seniors in high school in Italy, so they will probably have just finished some of the biologies and geometries and maybe stat and things that we have. So sometimes they enjoy seeing the different style of learning that we have here. Sometimes they'll participate in class, sometimes they won't. It'll be dependent upon them and the student, the teacher, and how that class goes.
And we have a day at the tech school for them. They go to tech school.
Okay.
They get a tour of that. They get to pick a couple of classes to get involved with that. And then we have a day down at Westchester at Ruston High School where they have an Italian class. And they welcome us because they want their kids to hear and meet the Italian kids and speak Italian and things like that.
Did you guys ever think about taking them to like a college visit or something like that?
We have in the past. We actually years ago took them to Philadelphia University, which is now called Jefferson, and took them to a volleyball game and that sort of thing. We have less time this time. Their trip is a little shorter than it has been in the past, so we had to curtail some of the things that we've done because of that. There's just not enough time. And then we take them to Hershey Park the Saturday before they leave to give them an opportunity to experience a American amusement park, which is a little different again.
And they're big on volleyball and soccer in Montella.
And basketball, we're taking them to a Sixers game, those who choose to go.
And they all know and miss Marcus Green, who was a basketball player and student here, and they know him all over in Italy, and he played for a team in Avellino, which is Montella's in the province of Avellino. So I talked to Marcus. Marcus is very aware of our program, and they just think the world of him.
And is this trip paid for?
The students in Italy have to fund their own way. They pay for their airfare, and then they pay for the trips, the side trips we take to Washington and Philadelphia. When our students go over, fortunately, we're able to do some fundraising. So we tried to cover the cost for part of our students' trip. They do need to pay their airfare, and then they usually pay a couple $100 for the side trips we take when we're there to the different places. So it is a expensive trip, but it's not nearly as expensive as if you stayed in a hotel and took a bus everywhere. So it's a reasonably priced, expensive trip.
According, whatever the airfare might be, it could roughly cost a student $1,500, $1,600 total for like 18 days in Italy. And we think that's very good. And like Cindy said, the fundraisers help us with when we're in Rome and with transportation and other side trips when we go down to Montella.
And this is only for juniors and seniors?
Or sophomores. The reason why, like sophomores and juniors, when we take students over, they need to be able to host when the students come here. So we've taken seniors before, and I think we're taking one next year because she is kind enough to host. And so as long as they're helping us with hosting at home and or school, that's how it works.
We have freshmen this year involved in school hosting, so they would be eligible to go over next year. But you don't have to school host or home host to go. You just need to be interested. You need to be academically on target, no discipline problems, and we get a recommendation from at least one teacher. So if the teacher feels that they're a good candidate to go, we're willing to take them.
And it's just important for Cindy and I to let everyone know it's open to everybody in the school. And we've had great students on all the trips. So anyone's welcome to be interviewed, and
Yeah, we limit our group to 12 taking over. They're bringing
Okay.
26 students, which is entirely too many. So we're not willing to take that many students. So we cap our number at 12, which we feel is a reasonable amount.
And how can the American students get involved for next year?
Well, if they're interested now, they can always touch base with us while we're here, while the students are here. We'll have applications right after they leave with Mrs. Reed down in the front lobby. She'll have applications. They can submit the applications. We do interviews, and then we'll select the students to go for 2020. And we'll be able to then, if we select the students early enough, be able to do a number of fundraisers, which will offset the costs for them.
One more question. How does that interview process work?
We have a group of people. We are supported by the school, but we are not within the school. The organization is the Sister Cities Committee, which is a part of the Holy Savior Club, which is in Norristown. And so we have a committee of people who will interview the students and get an idea of whether we feel they're ready to leave their family for 2 weeks, be independent enough to live with a family without knowing that family in advance. So it does take somebody who is somewhat mature and able to live in another culture for a couple of weeks. Our students stay in with a family by themselves, and so you need to be able to have the interpersonal skills to talk to the family members who may not be able to speak English.
Right.
It may only be the student who's hosting you that speaks English. So it's a wonderful opportunity to help you grow.
And the Italian families welcome our students with open arms, and they will treat them like their own because they know how valuable it is for their students, their kids, when they come here, and they just welcome this program with open arms. So, and kids that have gone before, they stay in touch with one another, and kids have gone back to stay with their host family, and kids have come here to stay with their host family here. So it's not like 2 weeks and we'll see you later. It's a lifelong interaction, and they really bond and have a good friendship.
And how do you think this will impact the Americans and the Italian students in the future?
Oh, it's just a lifelong experience. You get to know what life is like in another part. Some of our students have never even been out of Pennsylvania, or they think the Jersey Shore is a far trip. So many times it's the first time on an airplane, first time with passport, first time living in another country. All of those things just help you grow.
And when we're there, our students will stay. It's a small town, but you walk everywhere. When the Italian students come here, we're in cars. We're driving here, driving there. So there's so many differences in our lifestyles, and it's a more simpler lifestyle over in Italy, and our kids embrace that, and which amazes me. And the kids from Montella that come here, this lifestyle embraces some of them. I mean, they really wish they could be here. And I always tell the kids from Montella that we have a lot more here than you have here, more opportunities, but don't ever just value your lifestyle and your togetherness with your family, because it is a lot different over here. Though we are family oriented here too, we're off in all different directions in sports and whatever. And there they're just more together, it's more simpler.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
We just hope that all the students embrace the Italian students when they come. There will most likely be somebody in your class at some point. They'll be here an entire day. The first day they get here on Friday the 5th, and they'll be here most likely a couple times later that week. So just be personable. Make sure that you say hi to them, treat them with respect, and enjoy just getting to know somebody from another place.
And I emphasize again, it's open to everybody, and we want students to participate in the program.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Anya, and we talked about the Italian exchange program. Now back to Eagle's Eye.